Today on Studio One, many states are trying to find ways to pay their teachers more. A new federal program may soon help, but it has some concern. Also, the Special Olympics have given many athletes opportunities they've never had. We'll meet one athlete who took her sport to the other side of the world. And actors send messages to an audience in many ways. A performer's clothes can say a lot. We'll spend a day in the life of a costume designer.
From the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, this is Studio One.
Hello everyone and welcome to Studio One. I'm Monty Cashel.
And I'm Jenna Lund.
Well, we've got some interesting topics on the show today. One of the people we're going to talk to works with advocating foster kids, and there are hundreds of thousands of kids in foster care, and basically the program that he works with deals with being an advocate for the kids from when they get taken from a home through the court process until they get into another home.
So it's like a support system for these children.
Exactly. Okay. So the kids' best interests are taken care of during the court process.
Right.
So that's coming up in the show. Also, some athletes have to deal with challenges that go beyond the game. Later we'll meet a professional basketball player who is trying to bounce back from past mistakes.
And many people typically learn history from textbooks. Word of mouth is another way to pass on information. One woman will tell us the significance of oral history.
But first, here's today's news with Virginia Sticka.
Thanks, Monty and Jenna. Authorities are seeking to charge a man in connection with the Southern California wildfires. Raymond Euler of Beaumont, California, may be facing arson and murder charges. Investigators say they would seek to have Euler tried on 11 counts of arson, 10 counts of using an incendiary device, and 5 counts of murder. Five firefighters were killed while trying to put out the blaze. Euler was previously held in connection with 2 June fires in the Banning Pass area west of Palm Springs. The remains of a passenger and flight attendant from the first plane to hit the World Trade Center on September 11th have been identified. Karen Ann Martin was the head flight attendant on American Airlines Flight 11. Douglas Joel Sohn was a passenger on the same plane. The remains were found 2 weeks ago in a manhole that was covered by a temporary road built after 9/11. Families of the nearly 3,000 people who were killed in the attack are demanding a comprehensive search of the area. There are still more than 1,100 victims that have not yet been recovered or identified. XM radio and iPods have become increasingly popular. Both of these devices require an FM modulator to play through a car radio, but many people are concerned about the strength of the transmitters. Modulators are built with a high transmission power that often interferes with the radio reception of surrounding vehicles. The National Association of Broadcasters is asking for a recall of the modulators being used today. However, some believe that a recall would be more of an inconvenience than a solution.
They would have to basically just come out do a rolling change on them, because there's millions of these things and millions of these things out there, and no way they could recall all of them.
Even though the FCC has placed regulations on the strength of the transmitters, most companies have not complied. A new type of technology could help the U.S. military in Iraq. IBM has developed software that translates spoken English into Iraqi Arabic. The user speaks into a microphone and the words are translated for the other person to hear. The device will not be used in combat situations that require instant decision-making. IBM says the technology recognizes the way people speak instead of being limited to pre-programmed phrases. It can translate more than 50,000 English words and 100,000 Arabic words. In the future, IBM plans to offer the technology for civilian use. Most teachers would agree that the biggest reward of their job is seeing students succeed, but a new merit program for teachers is giving some of them another reward to look forward to. A new program is rewarding teachers for their students' success. This is the first federally funded merit pay program to be introduced in classrooms around the country. Although only a few schools have implemented the system so far, there seem to be mixed feelings on the issue.
I can see both sides, the advantages and disadvantages. The teachers, most of them I think would use it as an incentive to work harder and get better their students.
Ohio is one of a few states that has started rewarding its teachers. Maurice Lloyd grew up in Cleveland and experienced the school system firsthand. He noticed a lack of effort from students as well as teachers.
I think it's a horrible idea because it's going to be teachers that actually go by the rules and try to make the students pass, you know. But it's going to be them teachers that's just making it easier for the students.
Most parents would like to see their child's teacher put forth their best efforts in the classroom.
I would hope that they would if they're going to be paid extra, but I do think that you'd have some that take advantage of the system.
Others feel some of those extra dollars should go towards programs that would help teachers do their job more effectively.
I think ideally, if teachers are rewarded for the work that they do that is above and beyond their paycheck, it surely should go back to benefit the students.
Teacher unions argue that merit pay is not fair, nor is it good education reform. They say it may be a better idea to reward a bonus to each teacher if the entire school meets its improvement goals each year. According to a study done by the National Center for Education Statistics, there is not a connection between financial compensation and long-term satisfaction through a teacher's career. And that's the news for now. Monty and Jenna?
Thanks, Virginia. Well, have you taken out your snow boots out of your closet yet?
Actually, no. I really don't even own a pair.
You don't?
Sad enough to say.
Wow.
And I'm from a North Dakota native.
Yeah, you might have to go get a pair.
Yeah, I think I should be
winter's
prepared.
coming.
Speaking of winter, and Rob, we're going to turn to weather right now, and Rob will tell us about the weather for the nation.
Well, thanks, Monty and Jenna. Winter is officially here, and we've been seeing temperatures across the northern half of the United States well below normal, and that's no exception for us here in Grand Forks, where our average high is right around 41 degrees, and we're seeing temperatures 10 to 15 degrees below that. 46 is your average high in Minneapolis. Nationally, though, your average high across the northern half of the U.S. is into the 50s. Down to the south and southwest, your average high is into the 70s and 75 there in Los Angeles. Well, we're getting to the end of the 2006 Atlantic hurricane season, and so far, the United States has gotten off pretty easy. We've only had to go through 3 tropical storms. The first one back in mid-June was Tropical Storm Alberto, which formed here over the Caribbean and traveled through Florida and in through the Carolinas. Now after that, a month later in July, was Tropical Storm Beryl, and that really didn't affect the United States at all. It just kind of started here over the Carolinas and quickly went up the coast and just kind of had some tidal problems up there in the Massachusetts area. Then we had Tropical Storm Ernesto, which was a hurricane at one point, down into the country of Haiti, but by the time it reached the United States here in Florida, it had changed back over into a tropical storm. Now you compare it to all of this action that we've been seeing this year to last year. Last year we saw 27 named storms. 31 of those, or 31 total, 4 of those were tropical depressions, which aren't given names. 9 of those storms actually hit the United States, and the most well-known one of those was Hurricane Katrina. Now this year we've seen 9 named storms. 3 of those, again, have hit the United States, the rest of which have just kind of hung out over into the Atlantic Ocean. And why this has been happening is something that goes on here in the mid-Atlantic. We get tropical systems that come off the coast of Africa and start heading west off of there, and by the time it reaches the mid-Atlantic is where it starts getting in trouble with some of the cold fronts that are coming off here from the coast of the United States. It basically creates an atmospheric roadblock with all the southerly winds coming off of this cold front. It just drives the hurricane further north into the Atlantic Ocean and doesn't really affect anyone. Now, states down to the south and southeast really rely on some of this moisture this time of year for rain and stuff like that. And right now, some areas in Texas are seeing drought conditions. Areas in the light orange area are seeing severe droughts, where the dark orange areas are extreme droughts. We're also seeing some of those conditions up here into Wyoming, Nebraska, and South Dakota area, as well as northern Minnesota. We're going to ask you this week, what percentage of the world's water exists as fresh water? We have a few answers there, ranging from 3% all the way up to 10%. So Monty and Jenna will have the answer to that question and a look at a story coming up on, or a story on ice coming up later on the show.
All right, thanks, Rob. So it was 10, 7, 5, and 3.
Yeah.
Those aren't very high.
No, they're not. When you look at Rob's maps of the world, you see how much salt water there is out there. So
yeah, that would explain it.
Yeah, it would. All right, well, let's turn now to sports news with Nick Johnson.
Thank you, Monty and Jenna. Last season, the Cleveland Cavaliers and Washington Wizards hooked up in the first round of the NBA playoffs, and nearly every game was decided in the final seconds. The Cavs won the series in 6 games, but the Wizards would have their chance for revenge in the season opener. This game, of course, means that it's Gilbert Arenas versus LeBron James. In the third quarter, Cavs up 6. Arenas is rejected by Drew Gooden. Larry Hughes is going to bring the ball up the floor and make a very smart decision, giving it to LeBron James, who throws down the reverse dunk. 26 points in the night for LeBron. Later on in the fourth, Wizards down 3 until Arenas hits this one from downtown. Only 7 points in the night for Gilbert, but we have a tie game. And in the closing seconds, LeBron goes baseline, and I think the Wizards have seen this before. He lays in the game winner. Cavs start the season with a win, 97-94. Off to the Smurf Turf in Boise for my favorite, Wednesday night football. The undefeated Broncos from Boise State against the Bulldogs of Fresno, who are up to the challenge early. Chaston West returns his first quarter kickoff, 93 yards for a touchdown and a 7-3 lead. Bulldog Nation going absolutely crazy. But later on in the quarter, Jared Zabransky has all day to throw, and I mean all day. And he finds Drazon James, no relation to LeBron, who gets it inside the pylon. Broncos cruise from there and go on to win 45-21. Most athletes are constantly trying to get an extra edge in the competition, but that extra edge might lie in the healing hands of someone else. Sports massage has become an important part of an athlete's regimen. Massage therapists say it can help reduce the chance of injury, improve muscle range, and shorten the recovery time between workouts. Since each sport uses different muscle groups, massages are often tailored to the needs of the athlete.
Anybody that plays a pickup game once a week, once a month, all the way up to elite athletes can receive sports massage. And I recommend it as part of your routine.
Sports massage is now being implemented in many university athletic programs across the United States. It's now time for the Studio One sports trivia question. NCAA basketball is about to start up, and it's never too early to think about March. Who holds the record for the most points scored in one NCAA basketball tournament? A list of some great college basketball players there, and we'll have the answer to that later on in the show. And that's the sports. Monty and Jenna.
Thanks, Nick. The name Jack Frost brings images of cold temperatures and chilly landscapes. We'll preview a movie where Jack Frost tries to ruin Santa's Christmas.
Also, children sometimes tune out when their grandfather talks about walking 10 miles uphill in the snow to school every day. Our next guest will tell us why it is important to listen to our elders and their stories.
Need to plan an entire conference? Want to provide your employees with professional training and development? The Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota provides quality programs and services for career enhancement. Whether you want to attend educator workshops or need a certificate for your profession, the Division of Continuing Education can help you achieve success. Contact the Division of Continuing Education today and let us meet your professional needs.
George Bull and his partners found value in farina, the whitest part of wheat, and created cream of wheat. Patrick Haggerty founded Texas Instruments and helped it become one of the nation's high-tech giants. Raymond Rood is responsible for the modern diving board. His diving boards have been used in every Olympic competition since 1960. Chris Moen and Marlene Schott launched their food company through the UND Entrepreneurship Program. Will yours be next?
The University of North Dakota Foundation prepares students for the future. Through technology and scholarship contributions and other types of support, the UND Foundation can give students an outstanding educational experience. Help continue the traditions of academic and athletic excellence. Make a difference at the University of North Dakota by donating to the UND Foundation.
The University of North Dakota Graduate School offers unique opportunities for students who love to keep their eyes on the skies. Atmospheric science students are using advanced radar to see what's happening deep inside the clouds. Students and professors in our Space Studies program are helping to shape the future of interplanetary travel. Major projects include designing and testing a spacesuit for the mission to Mars. Reach for the skies and beyond with a graduate degree from the University of North Dakota.
There's a place where American Indian culture is celebrated, where helping others is a priority and encouragement is abundant. At American Indian Student Services, our goal is retention and graduation of American Indian students. The American Indian Center is a home away from home, where students can find state-of-the-art technology and a friendly face willing to help. Contact American Indian Student Services at 1-800-CALL-UND.
You're watching Studio One. News, weather, sports, and entertainment.
When many people think of history, they may think of dusty books and documents from the past, but everyone has a story of their own. Kim Porter teaches oral history and is here to share why everyone's memories are important. Thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you.
So, storytelling has been around forever, basically. When did oral history become formalized?
Oral history was formalized in about the 1930s as part of the New Deal. There was a project called the Federal Writers Project. They hired teachers, educated individuals to go out and interview former slaves in the South, for example. In North Dakota, they interviewed elderly homesteaders. And so it kind of got started then, but the equipment that was used at that particular time was just enormous. I mean, it was not a portable thing like today. We have the digital recorders that are, I don't know, 2 inches by 4 inches, something like that. And then was kind of revitalized in the late 40s, early 1950s by a man named Alan Nevins, and it's pretty much been a growth industry ever since.
Okay, so does this help events become better understood?
Oh, certainly. We have a tendency in many of our history books, in many of our remembrances, to focus on the big names. We focus on General Eisenhower rather than the foot soldier. We focus on the big businessman rather than maybe the guy who's making steel. We focus on powerful folks rather than the individuals who are maybe the ones who've made them powerful, kind of behind the scenes. Some people refer to it as history from the bottom up.
Okay, so why is this so important?
Well, it's tremendously important for the simple fact that there are so many people out there with these wonderful stories, and they themselves will say, well, oh, I was just a miner, I was just a farmer, oh, I was just one of a million soldiers, and they limit their own role. Most of us don't write a lot of letters anymore either. We do a lot more telephone calls, or we do email, and accordingly, where we used to keep diaries, we don't do that anymore. And so many of these stories are simply going to disappear. And with the projects that are underway throughout the United States, I just came back from the National Oral History Conference last week. A lot of history is being preserved.
Since there are so many different generations of stories, who is it helping presently the most?
Presently, we have individuals who are looking at some of the tapes, or in some cases the tapes were destroyed, and looking at the transcript from the 1940s and 50s. For example, one of the first sets of interviews was done by the Columbia University Oral History Project, and those folks interviewed a lot of New Deal people, and so you can hear Frances Perkins, the first female Secretary of Labor, and look at that. But as you move closer to the present, during the flood in Grand Forks, there were approximately 800 hours of tape collected under the direction of the North Dakota Museum of Art, and those have already been used by the Red Cross. They've been used by the equivalent of FEMA, but in Canada, and they've been used for a number of master's and doctoral essays, as well as some books.
Okay, and are there a lot of roadblocks in trying to get a certain oral history?
Well, there's always roadblocks. Some people have this feeling that what they're saying isn't important, or they have nothing to offer, so they don't want to get involved. There are legal issues with doing interviews because the interview is a product of the narrator, the person telling the story, as well as of the person doing the interviewing, and so there become copyright issues. Who owns this particular document, this particular oral document? And then the cemetery is the biggest enemy of oral history.
Okay, so what exactly are the rules in documenting this kind of history?
Well, if you're associated with a university or a government agency, you must go through the Institutional Review Board, and the Institutional Review Board looks over the questions that you intend to ask, looks over the population you intend to ask, because some populations are over-interviewed, and it becomes almost a burden. In North Dakota, examples happen to be some Native American populations are just inundated with people who want to interview for a variety of reasons. Other individuals who have limited free will, prisoners, or maybe exceptionally elder people who their kids or somebody insists that this person has to be interviewed. And so you want to do that to protect the rights of the narrator as well as the interviewer.
How is this impacting you?
The rules?
The oral history, how has it made your life different?
I get paid for having a lot of fun. I've been doing oral history in one form or another probably since the middle 1980s, and I have done projects on the Jewish populations of Grand Forks, done projects on the tuberculosis sanitarium, Sand Haven, projects on the Germans from Russia in the Kolm and Wishick area, interviewed as many folks as I could find from 1920s Grand Forks, which there weren't that many, and I'm just having a wonderful time doing it. It's affected my teaching, and just about a year ago I became the editor of the Oral History Review, which is the publication of record for the Oral History Association of the United States.
Well, it sounds like definitely a lot of information that you learned from, and it sounds like it's impacting you as well as many others out there. Thank you very much for being on the show today.
Thank you.
Coming up, once foster kids enter the juvenile court system, their best interests are not always taken into consideration. We'll tell you how one project is an advocate for the kids and makes sure that their voices are heard. Also, theater actors strive for realism to engage their audiences. Their onstage clothes are a fundamental part of that message. Next, we'll spend a day in the life of a theater costume designer.
Studio One closed captioning is underwritten in part by Options, your disability information source.
Earn a degree in engineering while you continue to work. The University of North Dakota's Distance Engineering degree program offers the only ABET accredited undergraduate degree program at a distance. Instructors and classes are delivered to you through online lectures and condensed on-campus laboratories.
It's convenient, it's flexible, and it's a quality education.
UND Continuing Education and the School of Engineering and Mines, teaming up to bring quality education to your door.
Wall Street has come to the prairie through the A. Kirk Lanterman Investment Center at the University of North Dakota. This state-of-the-art facility in the College of Business and Public Administration provides hands-on experience in the world of modern finance. Students learn how financial markets react with lightning quickness to world events. They use cutting-edge technology and real-time data from more than 200 financial markets around the world. The Lanterman Investment Center provides the tools to make a career out of an education.
The Workforce Development Office helped our organization identify specific health concerns faced by our employees. Along with that, they also helped us come up with a wellness program to address those concerns. They did a great job for us as we finalized our plans for the Alaris Wellness at Work program.
Call us to help your organization discover creative solutions to your workforce challenges. Workforce Development, a service of the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota.
Coming home from a busy day at work, sitting at your favorite coffee shop, reading with your kids, and fulfilling your dreams. At the University of North Dakota, you can fit your education into your life. UND Continuing Education offers flexible options including online courses, degree programs, and professional certifications. Never stop learning with UND Continuing Education.
The holidays are right around the corner, but what would Christmas be like if there was no Santa? Walt Disney answers the question in their third version of Santa Claus the Movie. Tim Allen plays Santa Claus and must face a mischievous and chilly villain. Jack Frost is jealous of Santa's holiday and will do just about anything to take over this merry day. Tim Allen puts on the 75-pound Santa suit for a third time because the location of the story intrigued him.
I'm just like a kid too. I want to see the North Pole. We got to see the North Pole. Now we got to shoot inside the North Pole even more. We got to know about my family and my relationship with my Mrs. Claus.
Several tons of limestone and Epsom salts were combined to create fluffy snow for the set. Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause, will open in theaters November 3rd. Now it's time to take a look at the events happening in your area. Fashions can help a person express emotion. This is also true in the imaginary world. Today, we get to spend a day in the life of a theater costume designer.
In the basement of the Burtness Theater at the University of North Dakota lies the costume shop. Tracy Lyons is one of those people who can make something out of nothing.
When I was young, my grandmother played a critical role in raising me. My grandmother was a seamstress, and so if you're hanging out with grandma, you're sewing, even if whatever I was sewing didn't really make sense.
Tracy is responsible for designing each of the costumes that go on stage. The planning involves more than the outward appearance. Tracy factors in things like the play's script, lighting on the stage, and how it looks against the set. Tracy says her job has different rewards.
The bonus of being in an academic setting is working with the students, seeing students get it, seeing students get turned on about theater, and being a patron of the art they love.
She puts her students first. Like, she'll stop what she's doing just to help you out, and I think that's amazing.
Tracy's passion extends beyond the fabric of her costumes.
When the conversation turns to plays and scripts and art, the atmosphere is favorable to me. I like it when students are talking and doing art.
Tracy does more than make costumes for plays. She shares her passion with each of her students who pick up a needle and thread. With photographer Eric Fleischacker, I'm Kelly Corbo reporting for Studio One.
Tracy says it's common to spend up to 40 hours on only one design. Coming up, it might be nerve-wracking for some athletes to compete in a tournament across the globe. In our Studio One Spotlight, we'll meet a young woman who says that challenge is right up her alley. That story plus news, sports, and weather in the next half hour of Studio One.
Yes, come on. My tuition. It is very cute, very cuddly. I can give you 2 for 1. 2 for 1.
Bad idea.
How about 3 for 1?
That's a really bad business idea.
The School of Engineering and Mines at UND has a long history of preparing students for successful careers. Through small classes and faculty involvement, students have unique opportunities to gain hands-on experience. Here, students launch a weather balloon to test a remote imaging device destined for Earth orbit. Students can also become involved in wind energy and fuel cell projects, design, build, and race a Formula One car, or even develop a camera that will generate agricultural images from the International Space Station. Find out for yourself how you can get involved at UND School of Engineering and Mines.
Do you need a flexible way to earn your degree? The University of North Dakota's Degrees After Hours program is designed to work around your full-time schedule. Whether you've got a family, a full-time job, or both, the Degrees After Hours program offers you flexible alternatives. You can earn a degree or take courses online through video conferencing and in the evenings or on weekends. UND's Degrees After Hours program fits your needs, your schedule, and your goals. Contact UND today.
This can happen.
Excuse me, can I get a ride?
What?
My car broke down. Can I get a ride?
No, I can't help you.
Look, it's just a ride.
No, step back.
Get in the car!
No!
Women can defend themselves. To learn more about Impact U or to enroll in a class, call the UND Women's Center.
From the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, this is Studio One.
Welcome back to Studio One. One of the next topics that we're going to talk about this next half of the show is standardized testing for college.
Like ACT and
SATs and ACT. In some schools, colleges are actually getting rid of the requirement. So we went out on the streets to see other people's opinions on that.
All right, see if they like them or not. Also coming up in the next 30 minutes on Studio One, many college students struggle with weight gain after their first year in school. We'll tell you how that can lead to lifelong problems.
Also, many athletes dream of competing in an international event. In our Spotlight story, we'll tell you how the Special Olympics gave a young woman that chance.
And everyone needs someone to look over them in times of need. We'll tell you about a program that helps foster kids in the court system. But first, here's today's news with Virginia Sticka.
Thanks, Monty and Jenna. A former security guard has been arrested in the shooting of 2 men in Phoenix. The guard shot at the business he was fired from with a semi-automatic rifle. An office employee and a security guard were critically injured. Both victims were conscious and able to speak when they were taken to the hospital. About 150 employees work at the building. The company shut down for the day to provide counseling for their employees. 3 bodies have been discovered in a drainage pipe near a public housing complex in Columbia, South Carolina. Police are still trying to identify the victims, which they believe were killed Wednesday night. A resident of the apartment complex where the victims are believed to have lived reported the bodies around 5 a.m. Thursday. A call concerning gunshots in the neighborhood was made before the bodies were discovered. However, police are unsure if the two are related. Columbia police say they have no suspects at this time. Investing is a very important thing for people to do. However, some parents may not be saving enough for their children's future. A study released by a New York finance company shows that college tuition continues to go up, but parents are failing to plan for this increase. College costs are expected to rise by at least 6% a year. That means that in 10 years, the average in-state college will cost more than $100,000.
Mom and dads do know that there's going to be certain costs for college, and that's increasing on a year-by-year basis, but they don't realize how much that it's going to be on an estimated basis and what they can do.
Erickson says that saving for children's college should start even before they are born. He says that it is important to find a middle ground in retirement and college savings. A new type of health care is becoming more popular for those who can afford it. Patients pay more than $1,500 to join a program called MD VIP. Patients get a full physical and wellness plan, unlimited access to their doctors and other special services. The fee covers all doctor visits and other services, but treatments like MRIs cost extra. Some medical experts are concerned that this practice may hurt healthcare systems for non-members. A government accountability report shows that 146 of these doctors practice in the U.S. Most college students are aware of the freshman 15, the amount of weight some students worry about gaining their first year, but researchers have found a bigger problem.
The freshman 15 is a weight gain that affects some students. An unhealthy diet, lack of exercise, and stress are all factors that lead up to the freshman 15.
The nutrient level is probably a little lower than I'd like it to be.
Well, there's a lot less healthy options, but I try and pick the better ones.
New research suggests that the freshman 15 may be a myth, but the extra pounds are not. Researchers at Brown University Medical School found that the freshman 15 actually tends to be 5 to 7 pounds and is followed by more weight gains later on.
There are many risks that can develop, especially if it continues on and on. You know, the risk of diabetes and cardiovascular disease are two that come to mind.
Stress from school can also make students less physically active.
I tend not to exercise as much, always inside, especially during the winters.
I didn't work out every single day as I did in high school.
Anderson says there are ways students can avoid gaining weight.
I really tend to emphasize the positives, changing behaviors such as getting on a regular exercise program, you know, finding something that the student enjoys.
And with these healthy choices, students may be able to keep the weight off and not worry about the freshman 15. I'm Amanda Pizik reporting for Studio One.
In one study, the researchers found that on average, males gain about 5 pounds and females gained about 3. But many of the students gained 10 pounds or more. And that's the news for now. Monty and Jenna?
Thanks a lot, Virginia. the freshman 15. I know that myth has been out there for a long time.
And I think it's very true.
Yeah?
And we won't mention why. We're going to return to weather, and Rob is going to tell us about flooding in Turkey, which caused a lot of damage.
Well, thanks, Monty and Jenna. We're going to show you some flooding footage from Diyarbakir, Turkey. They saw several inches of rain that caused drivers to drive through bumper-deep water. Areas across eastern part of Turkey experienced a lot of damage due to erosion that took place there. And during rescue attempts, wading through chest-high water was the only way to get some people to save them. Many places across riverbanks saw the worst damage as rivers overflowed their banks, flooding cities and homes. With all this extra rain, streets themselves even turned into rivers. Now we're going to show you the affected area here was over in Europe in the country of Turkey here in the eastern part of Turkey. And they had lots of rain that showed up there. And with all that rain, they also had a lot of damage caused by that with a lot of flooding, and a lot of people were trapped in the rain there. Now back in the United States, as fall turns to winter, we start to see temperatures drop. This brings new changes to local landscapes.
A quiet change is happening as a familiar substance covers our lakes with a changing season. Water particles act much differently than most when they begin to freeze.
They actually push each other out of the way to make room. It would be equivalent to people just simply standing and talking, but then if they just had to hold their arms out.
Lakes freeze because cool air passes over the surface of the water. This cools the water below freezing.
As water cools, it expands and takes up more space, but has less weight in this space. This idea has an interesting effect as ice and water are next to each other. Ice floats.
If ice was denser than water, things would appear differently.
It would prefer to be at the very bottom of whatever the container would be. If it's your glass of water, it would be at the bottom of your glass. If it was your lake, it would wind up at the bottom of the lake.
If ice did sink, our polar oceans would freeze solid. This would be devastating to animal life. So next time you grab an ice cube from the freezer, be thankful it floats. Reporting for Studio One Weather, I'm Rebecca Leggett.
Experts also believe that if our polar oceans froze, our planet could experience a global climate change. We asked you earlier what percentage of the world's water exists as fresh water, and your answer is deep, 3%. And most of this water is actually locked up in polar ice caps and up there in the northern part of the United States. Monty and Jenna?
Thanks, Rob. That means there's a lot of salt water out there.
There is, 3%.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem like a whole heck of a lot. All right, let's turn to sports again, and Nick Johnson.
Thank you, Monty and Jenna. Second chances are hard to come by in life, especially in professional sports. But one basketball player is trying to make the most out of his. The NBA preseason is a time when a lot of unknowns contend for roster spots. Among these players is a familiar 34-year-old face.
Number 42, Vin Baker.
I think I got something left in the tank. I'm ready to play.
Baker, a four-time NBA All-Star during the 1990s, has a career that has fallen short of its greatest potential due to problems with weight and alcohol.
Yeah, those are in the past, man. You go through tough times in your life, man, and you have to learn when you go through tough situations, and they build character.
Baker is making what might just be his final NBA stop on a Timberwolves squad that has had some recent struggles of its own on the court as well as off. Forward Eddie Griffin was arrested this summer for drunk driving, and hopes are high that Baker's arrival will help him through troubles of his own.
As soon as he got here, first thing he did was give me his numbers. They told me anything I need, call him. Make myself readily available for him. He's a great kid. He has a great future, and I'm here to help him secure that future and make sure he doesn't go through some of the same things that I went through.
While the Wolves aren't expecting Baker to have a huge impact in the stat column, they are looking towards him for leadership.
He helps the young guys out. He helps me out, and just got to be around.
Though Baker may not have made the most of his NBA career, he at least appears to now be making the most out of his life.
I'm blessed to be here and be in good shape and be physically right, spiritually right, and I go from here one day at a time, and I feel good.
Baker has spent his last 5 seasons with 5 different NBA teams, the most recent being the Los Angeles Clippers. Now the answer to this week's Studio One Sports Trivia question: who holds the record for the most points scored in one NCAA basketball tournament? And the answer is D. Glenn Rice, who had 184 points in 6 games as a member of the Michigan Wolverines when they won the national title in 1989. And that's the sports. Monty and Jenna.
Thanks, Nick. Some people customize their vehicles to make them unique. We'll talk to a person who has changed the look of his van enough to turn the heads of both adults and kids.
Also, sports can provide athletes with many opportunities. In our Spotlight story, we'll see how bowling gave one young woman a trip of a lifetime.
When you graduate from college, what will you be able to offer an employer?
Well, I'm a really good people person.
I really love working with people.
I'm very, very motivated.
I'm a great people person. I am really motivated.
Offer an employer something more. At the University of North Dakota Career Services Center, we can help you get the competitive edge you need. Stop in or check us out, UND Career Services, empowering students to realize their dreams.
Did I mention I'm great with people?
This can happen.
Excuse me, can I get a ride?
What?
My car broke down. Can I get a ride?
No, I can't help you.
Look, it's just a ride.
No, step back.
Get in the car!
No!
Women can defend themselves. To learn more about Impact U or to enroll in a class, call the UND Women's Center.
Let the University of North Dakota become your partner by providing your business with services to enhance your workforce. The UND Office of Workforce Development has extensive experience conducting employee satisfaction research, strategic planning, focus groups, and grant development. Call us for further information. Workforce Development, a service of the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota.
You're watching Studio One from the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks.
Many people search for their personal fountain of youth. One group has found their own way to stay young at heart.
Bad Java is the name of this young rock band. Songwriter Jimmy Swenson says people might have to listen close to understand what he sings about.
Whatever society's like at the time, a little more deeper. Like reading it, you wouldn't get it right away unless you really thought about it.
Their sense of humor is more apparent. Along with unique lyrics, the band has an unusual way of transporting their equipment.
I needed an all-around vehicle, and a van would be good for my band and whatnot. And then why not have a mystery machine if you're gonna have a van?
It took 2 days to transform an ordinary 1992 Ford into a remake of the Scooby-Doo cartoon van. Not only does the mystery machine carry the band's equipment, it also brings a smile to people's faces.
Brightens people's day. You go by and you see it, you automatically laugh, having a little bit better of a day. You know, guess what I saw?
Adults get a good laugh out of the van, but little kids go wild over this ride.
I don't like driving by schools during recess and whatnot because I'm kind of afraid I'm going to get mobbed by about 40 kids.
The band works together to create harmony, yet they each relate to a different member of the Scooby-Doo cast.
I'm Fred, kind of the leader, but we all kind of work together in it.
Probably Velma, because I have glasses.
I guess everybody'd probably like to say Scooby. Just a crazy guy, you know, I'll do anything for a Scooby snack.
To some, the Mystery Machine is more than just a van with a unique paint job. It is a reminder to stay young at heart. Reporting for Studio One,
like zoinks, yo.
I'm Kelly Mosted.
This is Jimmy's second Mystery Machine. He is thinking of repainting it as the van from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles After Winter. Prepping for college entrance exams is a stressful time. However, prospective students may not have to worry about studying for the SATs and ACTs anymore. There are already some schools that have dropped the exams as part of their admissions criteria. We wanted your thoughts on whether standardized testing should be mandatory for potential students.
I think they should actually keep the ACT scores. I had a really low GPA in high school, but if you actually study for the ACTs, you can get a really high score. So I think it's just more of the ACTs teach you discipline.
I think that's a good idea because I know a lot of people have done really poorly on their ACTs and they come and they get in their field and like what they're comfortable with and what they really want to do in life and they really excel and do even better than those people that score really high ACT scores.
On one sense, you need something to judge how well a student will do academically, but there are better ways.
I think that's okay just because some people don't take tests well, and I think GPA and study habits are better criteria for that.
Bowling is a sport enjoyed by many people, but to one individual, bowling has given her a special opportunity.
Almost every week you can find Jenny Hummel here at her favorite bowling alley. For the past 10 years, Jenny has enjoyed bowling. She was first introduced to the Special Olympics by her friend. She has just returned from a Special Olympic event from halfway around the world.
I celebrated my birthday in Shanghai. They gave me this card and this puzzle of Shanghai.
Jenny has recently bowled in a tournament for the Special Olympics in Shanghai. Her results were pretty impressive.
I bowled like a 170, and so we were the highest doubles in the whole entire competition for bowling, for males or females. My coach said that he never seen a girl double bowl over 300, which we did.
Being halfway across the world took some getting used to.
And they do have like Coke and Pepsi, but it's warm. It's not cold, it's warm.
The Special Olympics are committed to giving athletes with intellectual disabilities the chance to compete in sports. Jenny was selected to compete because she won a silver medal at the state level in North Dakota.
She's committed to the program. She takes her training very seriously. She also assumes that responsibility of getting to her practices on time, being part of the team.
But there's more to the Special Olympics than the competition.
Friendships that they made, not only just in the United States, but across the world. It makes you just really excited and overwhelmed.
Jenny came home with a bronze medal, but she brought back something much more valuable.
It didn't matter to her that she got a 4th place ribbon instead of a medal, or it didn't matter that she got a 3rd place medal instead of 1st place. It's just great to be able to compete.
In October 2007, Jenny will be making her return to Shanghai.
One of the neat things about Jenny is whether she wins or loses, she just appreciates the opportunity to participate, to be given the same rights and the same opportunities, to use the same bowling alleys that you and I use all the time.
And like it says on the back of Jenny's medal,
I know I can, Shanghai 2006.
This is Peter Stortle reporting for Studio One.
The Special Olympics is a worldwide event that includes 150 countries. They have summer and winter games that meet every 4 years. Children are most often in foster care because they are unable to live safely at home. We'll tell you how one project is giving children in foster care a brighter future.
Studio One closed captioning is underwritten in part by University of North Dakota Student Government.
The College of Business and Public Administration at the University of North Dakota is proud to announce the Page Family Marketing Center. A gift from alumni Greg and Cindy Page, this center promises real-world experiences as students begin careers in marketing. The center includes a specially designed conference room for focus group research. An adjacent lab offers real-time access to software and data for marketing decisions. The Page Family Marketing Center, your next step in marketing.
Earn a degree in engineering while you continue to work. The University of North Dakota's Distance Engineering degree program offers the only ABET accredited undergraduate degree program at a distance. Instructors and classes are delivered to you through online lectures and condensed on-campus laboratories.
It's convenient, it's flexible, and it's a quality education.
UND Continuing Education and the School of Engineering and Mines, teaming up to bring quality education to your door.
There's a place where American Indian culture is celebrated, where helping others is a priority and encouragement is abundant. At American Indian Student Services, our goal is retention and graduation of American Indian students. The American Indian Center is a home away from home, where students can find state-of-the-art technology and a friendly face willing to help. Contact American Indian Student Services at 1-800-CALL-UND.
No matter what your schedule, no matter when you work, no matter what job you have now, this is your opportunity to accomplish your goals. Degrees After Hours at the University of North Dakota can work around your busy schedule. Bachelor and master's degrees are earned through convenient, flexible, and high-quality classes. Complete degrees are available online through correspondence study and on weekends and evenings. Earn a degree on your terms with Degrees After Hours at the University of North Dakota.
The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services say more than 500,000 kids are in the foster care system last year. Unfortunately, these kids often have a long process ahead of them in the juvenile court system. Director of the North Dakota Guardian Ad Litem Project, Brad Swenson, is here to tell us about how this project is helping children. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Hi, Monty.
Well, first of all, how did the project get started?
Well, this project got started in 2000. And there were pilot projects in Grand Forks and Fargo. And then in 2003, the project went statewide. There's a little longer history, a different model of the Guardian program called CASA, Court-Appointed Special Advocates, got started in 1977 out in Seattle when a judge was hearing a lot of cases and recognizing that kids' voices weren't being heard.
Well, what is a guardian ad litem? What is their role then?
Well, there are a lot of different roles that they play. Their primary role is to advocate for the best interests of kids that end up in the juvenile court system for cases of deprivation, so abuse and neglect situations.
How old are the kids? Is there a range?
Well, I've been doing this job since April. So in the 6 months or so that I've been doing the job, we've had cases referred to our office with kids that are right out of the hospital, still in the hospital, to almost their 18th birthday.
Okay, so quite a range of kids. Why ad litem? What does the name mean?
I was afraid you were going to ask me this. I think it means guardian for the litigator, or
okay.
It's a special person that is appointed by the juvenile court, and they are representing the child's best interest and trying, I should add, trying to create a sense of permanency, a safe place for the kids to be.
What are the responsibilities of a guardian?
Well, they vary a lot. They will review records, they'll interview the child, age taken into consideration. They'll go to the school and interview the teachers, they'll interview therapists, they'll interview the parents, they'll interview foster parents. And so that is more kind of in the role of an investigator. They'll facilitate resources, identifying programs in the community or statewide that might help the child, and primarily, secondarily, might help the family. They'll advocate for kids. And then they'll also, depending on where the process is in the juvenile court system, they'll monitor a case and make sure that the treatment plan that's been developed by social services, for example, is being followed, and all the parties are doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Okay, so you can see quite a process there. Do they have a voice in the court? The guardians. The guardians, yes. They are speaking up for what the kid's best interest is, and sometimes that gets confused a little bit with what the child's wishes are. And the guardians will take that into consideration, but primarily they're researching the situation to determine what is in their best interest. And that is, of course, permanent. So we're looking at either a goal of reunification with the family of origin, or the other flip side of that is termination of parental rights. Now that's not permanence. Permanence is when parental rights are terminated and there is an adoption. Okay. And that is what we consider why do you think this is such an important thing? Well, I think for a long time kids' voices weren't being heard, and so adults were making decisions, and sometimes kids would go back home to an unsafe situation. And once they do get into the foster care system, historically, you know, there's the foster care shuffle and kids going from one home to another, not necessarily just foster homes, because there's a lot of good foster homes that are committed to kids, but going through group homes, residential treatment centers, and a guardian ad litem can speak up for the child and say, you know, the best interest of this child is to be in one home. And giving a voice to those who before were voiceless. Right. All right. Exactly. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show and explaining this to us. It's an important program. Thank you for the invitation. All right, Brad. You're watching Studio One from the University of North Dakota. We'll be back right after this.
When you graduate from college, what will you be able to offer an employer?
Well, I love working with people.
I'm a people person.
I consider myself to be highly motivated.
I'm a real self-starter.
Offer an employer something more. At the University of North Dakota Career Services Center, we can help you get the competitive edge you need. Stop in or check us out, UND Career Services, empowering students to realize their dreams.
I can offer you much more than just good people skills.
You're hired. Remember the friendships, the school pride, the hair? Stay connected to your college years through the University of North Dakota Alumni Association. Participate in homecoming events, class reunions, or career networking opportunities. Create new memories and relive some of the old ones. Check out how you can stay connected to your alma mater through the UND Alumni Association.
Thank you for joining us today.
And we're going to leave you now with pictures of people having some fun playing pool, courtesy of photographer Jurgen Johansson. From all of us here at Studio One, have a great week.